We have created some exercises from real examples of education programs that we have evaluated. You can use these exercises to develop your own skills for understanding other people's equity lens. Let's go through one example together. This program was funded by a Department of Education grant intended to increase math proficiency in order to reduce dropouts. A grant-funded dropout prevention program had an objective of targeted students passing algebra, which was required for graduation. They described the targeted students as those at risk of failing algebra. EdStar was to evaluate the effectiveness of this program towards this objective. When asked how he identified students to participate in the program, the director explained that he had enrolled students whose last names sounded as if they are minorities, because minorities are known to be at risk of not being able to pass math courses. He had explained that although he had a roster of names, he could not be sure that all the minority-sounding names actually were minority. For example, he thought the name Williams might be either black or white. So he didn't think it was possible to know ahead of time how many students needed this service. Although student races are in the data files, he explained that he didn't know how to use the electronic data and could only use the printed lists of names. He reported that he selected the students whose names really sounded minority to be extra sure. He didn't check that they had low math scores or whether they had even already passed algebra. He was confident in the research that says that minority students are at risk of failing math. He reported to us that even if they were currently passing, because they are at risk, they could start failing at any time. He couldn't tell us what research he was citing, but he was sure that there was some. He used grant funds to allow the girls in the program to get makeovers, and then have them to get their photos taken at glamour shots. He reported to us that the photos would boost their confidence, and confident people pass more math more than people with no confidence. He thought that raising their confidence levels would improve their math skills because they would feel more like people who are good at math. This is real, by the way. This was a 21st Century Community Learning Center grant in a high school. Now, through Mrs. Smith's equity lens, this might seem like a perfectly reasonable program, but Mrs. Jones would disagree. Now let's see if we can identify the key components of this program director's equity lens. Not all 5 of these categories of beliefs come into play, but in this example, cause and effect surely does. His understanding of cause and effect in this scenario was that doing something innovative might improve the quality of life of the at-risk students by making them more confident. He didn't really have a clear idea of how making them more confident connected to their math scores, but this didn't matter to him. His understanding of what at-risk means was also a contributing factor to his equity lens. He thinks that at-risk means being a minority, even if they are proficient. What skills affected his equity lens? Well, he has no skills with working with data, and he sees no reason to develop any. So what was the outcome here? Well, we pulled pre- and post-academic data for the students who were served. It turned out that more than half of them had already taken algebra and passed it. Of the students who had not already passed algebra, 2/3 had already scored above grade level in math and had not been at risk of failing algebra. The remaining 1/3 failed algebra. The makeovers and glamour shots had no effect at all on passing algebra for the girls. The boys got a different service to boost their confidence. They were mentored to build things to enter into the state fair. The program director argued that the glamour shots were effective because nearly everyone in the program passed algebra, even though they were minorities. He went on to run another grant-funded program that we evaluated, and he enrolled students the same way in it. Students in the program were viewed as at risk simply because they were in the program. They became less successful in school. This school district had programs in 14 high schools, and only this high school continued to operate this way after attending our data academy where we helped them review academic data. This one school's principal shared the beliefs of the program manager and backed him to continue to operate their program his way. The other 13 schools started using academic data to provide services, and they actually reduced their dropout rates. Because of differing equity lenses, the principal of this one school believed that EdStar was anti-equity for trying to get him to use data in deciding which students would be referred to services. Try some of these exercises yourself.